they get told by Meghan Markle, oh no, you got to take those pictures down. You need to take those pictures down. And then Meghan will turn around and tell a psychic, yeah, share this picture, share this personal note.
When Prince Harry first told the world that he met Meghan Markle on a blind date, it sounded like a modern fairy tale. Two people, one introduction, love at first sight. But over the years, cracks have appeared in that story. According to multiple reports, insiders, and long-standing royal watchers, the meeting may not have been random at all. In fact, it may have been the final step in a carefully curated path, one built through elite connections, private members clubs, and a very influential figure behind the scenes. Today we're unpacking the claims surrounding Meghan Markle's Soho House past and why some believe Prince Harry may have been far less accidentally encountered than he was led to believe. This isn't about rumors for shock value, this is about timelines, connections, and patterns. And one man whose name keeps appearing again and again, Marcus Anderson. Soho House is often described as a private members club for creatives, actors, producers, influencers, financiers, royals, and power players. But insiders have long said it's more than just a place to eat or socialize, it is a networking machine. Membership is selective, access is controlled, introductions matter. And according to numerous profiles and interviews, Meghan Markle was deeply embedded in this world well before she ever met Prince Harry. She didn't just visit Soho House, she reportedly lived in its ecosystem.
Before Harry met Meghan, she was an actress living in Toronto. You may have heard.
Meghan stayed at Soho House locations during her time in London while filming Suits. She socialized there, she built friendships there, and one of her closest connections within that circle was Marcus Anderson. Marcus Anderson is not a celebrity, he doesn't give interviews, he doesn't seek attention, but his influence is undeniable. He is a senior executive at Soho House, often described as the brand's global connector. His role has historically involved introducing members, facilitating relationships, and managing elite access.
Been less than kind, unimaginative and frustrating, said Hollywood's Bible, Variety magazine. So sickening, I almost brought up my breakfast, said the woke Bible, The Guardian. All the intimacy of Instagram, sneered the normally timid New York Times. A nauseating self-serving snooze fest, said another pundit. Well, that was me, actually.
And here's where things get interesting. Marcus Anderson was reportedly already familiar with Prince Harry's social orbit before Meghan ever entered the picture. Royal watchers have pointed out that Marcus was seen at events linked to Harry's charity work, polo circles, and social gatherings years before Harry and Meghan's so-called blind date. Now that has raised some eyebrows, because it suggests this wasn't a chance overlap, but a convergence. According to claims made by commentators and insiders, Meghan didn't just stumble into Harry's life. The allegation is this: Meghan used her Soho House connection, specifically Marcus Anderson, to position herself within Harry's world. Marcus allegedly helped smooth access, context, and familiarity. By the time Meghan met Harry, the environment had already been curated. In other words, the meeting may have been introduced as a blind date, but not an uninformed one. Insiders claim Marcus had spent years observing Harry's habits, preferences, vulnerabilities, and pressures through proximity to royal events and elite social circles. So when Meghan entered that space, she wasn't entering blindly. She was entering prepared.
I think it's really cruel to her husband to do that. And you look at this situation, you go, yeah, I'm not surprised that Meghan would go in this direction. She did that whole event at somebody's house, which sort of looked like witchcraft and these sorts of things.
Now let's look at timing, because this is where speculation intensifies. Meghan relocates frequently between Toronto, London, and elite social hubs. She becomes closely associated with Soho House London. Marcus Anderson is consistently present in UK elite circles. Prince Harry is increasingly active in private, non-palace environments. Introductions happen quietly. Then the blind date occurred. Royal commentators have pointed out that by the time Harry and Meghan met, the conditions were already ideal. Private, discreet, and controlled. Not paparazzi-driven, not palace-managed, and crucially, outside of royal oversight. Here's where the emotional impact comes in. Prince Harry has repeatedly said he felt trapped, misunderstood, and manipulated by the royal system. He has also said that he valued authenticity above all else. So if, and this is key, if Harry later began to suspect that his introduction to Meghan was strategically orchestrated rather than spontaneous, that could be deeply unsettling. Not because people don't get introduced all the time, but because the story he believed, the fairy tale narrative, might not have been the full truth. Some royal observers believe Harry may have only realized after the marriage just how connected Meghan already was to elite power brokers long before she entered his life. Critics of Meghan have long pointed to what they call a pattern: strategic friendships, rapid social elevation, high-value connections, controlled narratives, and carefully curated access. They argue that Soho House wasn't just a backdrop, it was a tool, a place where social boundaries blur, where titles don't matter, but influence does, where introductions can quietly change lives. And Marcus Anderson, they claim, was the key facilitator. And this is where opinion splits. Supporters say everyone networks, everyone uses connections, this is normal. Critics argue there's a difference between networking and positioning. They point out that Harry wasn't just wealthy or famous, he was emotionally vulnerable, publicly conflicted, increasingly distant from palace control and searching for escape, which they argue made him uniquely susceptible to someone offering understanding, validation, and an alternative worldview. Years later, the Soho House questions persist because Marcus Anderson remains close to Meghan. Not only this, but he also attended the royal wedding and reportedly continues to be part of their inner circle. Meghan's early narrative keeps shifting, and Harry's own recollections appear increasingly defensive. Royal watchers believe that if the meeting truly were random, the need to defend it so strongly wouldn't exist.
People are just sort of wising up to this pair who claim to be very successful, very talented, all these sorts of things. And then you see the end result and go, oh no, they're not really. And then you add on to that.
This isn't about blaming one person for everything. It's about acknowledging that power doesn't always look like force. Sometimes it looks like access, timing, connections, and introductions, understanding systems better than the people inside them. And if Prince Harry eventually realized that his escape from royal manipulation may have begun with another form of influence, that could explain much of his anger, confusion, and defensiveness in later years. So the question remains, was Meghan Markle just lucky, or was she strategic? Was Prince Harry swept off his feet, or carefully guided toward a moment that felt spontaneous but wasn't? Nothing here is a proven fact, but patterns invite questions, and in royal history, questions often matter more than answers. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you believe the Soho House connection changed everything, or is this just another case of coincidence being overanalyzed?